In the world of paranormal investigation, some stories leave a deep imprint on people's minds. And among them, there are a few rare stories that leave such a terrifying mark on hearts and minds that people are forced to believe in the existence of ghosts and spirits. One such story is that of the Annabelle doll, which is considered one of the most hated dolls in the world. This doll has been among us for several decades, and from time to time, it keeps making its presence felt. Recently, a paranormal investigation related to this doll shocked everyone: the mysterious death of Dan Rivera. Dan Rivera's death has left the entire paranormal world in shock. This incident has once again fueled the mystery and curse hidden behind the Annabelle doll, and raised many questions. This video will try to uncover the real truth behind Dan Rivera's death. Was Annabelle really responsible for his death, or are these just rumors? Along with that, we will also take a brief look at the case history of the Annabelle doll. So come, join me as we dive into the dark world and uncover some of the unanswered questions. In July 2025, a shocking news emerged in the world of paranormal investigation. Dan Rivera, who was a very well-known name in the paranormal world and an experienced lead investigator of the New England Society of Psychic Research, NESPR, was found dead in a hotel room in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He was 54 years old, and perhaps many of you might not even know that he was also a U.S. Army veteran. He was discovered by his coworkers on July 13th when he was in Gettysburg during the Devils on the Run tour. It was a multi-city paranormal experience tour, in which the Annabelle doll was presented as a special showcasing item. It was operated by Ghostly Images of Gettysburg Tours and was held at the Soldiers National Orphanage venue in Gettysburg from July 11th to 13th, 2025. Every night of the tour was sold out, and people were being invited in front of Annabelle for terrifying experiences. On the night of July 13th, 2025, Sunday, Rivera suddenly collapsed in his Gettysburg hotel room. An emergency responders performed CPR to save him, but he could not be revived. Well, the Pennsylvania State Police reported that nothing unusual or suspicious was found in the hotel room. This means there were no signs of forced entry, nor were there any signs of struggle. Adams County Chief Deputy Coroner Scott Penwell and Coroner Francis Dutro confirmed that the Annabelle doll was not present in the hotel room. The doll might have been in a van in the hotel parking lot or somewhere else, but it was definitely not in the room, nor was it there before the incident. Now, this is a very important detail because it goes against the common belief that the doll was in the room with him and caused his death. Dan Rivera's autopsy is pending, meaning the actual cause behind the incident has not yet been confirmed. Now, before the incident, that very morning, Rivera had told his coworkers that he was not feeling well and then went back to his room. This points to the possibility that the cause of his death might be medical rather than a supernatural event. Dan Rivera's background was also quite interesting. He had been involved in paranormal research investigations for over a decade. He was born and raised in Bridge City, and as you may know, he had witnessed paranormal events in his own home during childhood. If you want to know more about this, just comment Dan Rivera background below, and I'll make the next video on this topic. So, where were we? Yes, Dan Rivera had seen paranormal events in his home during his childhood. And he was also an expert in the rites and rituals of Soteria. Rivera was a very crucial part of the Devils on the Run tour. This tour was organized to showcase the artifacts of the Warrens Occult Museum. One report even mentioned that Dan had designed and built a special crate to contain the demonic tendencies of the Annabelle doll. This shows his dedication and expertise in his work. Now friends, the thing to consider is that the officials' initial investigation stated that there was nothing suspicious in Rivera's hotel room. And I have already shared that with you. But the general public is not ready to accept this. The reason is that in such cases, when a famous haunted object is involved, people often want a dramatic explanation, even if that explanation is far from the facts. That's why the media and public immediately linked it to the curse, even though the police never said anything like that. This shows how media narratives often overpower the truth, and how a myth starts forming around such incidents. Because of this, even though the entire incident is a personal tragedy, it becomes a part of Annabelle doll's story, strengthening the belief that she is cursed and evil. But the question here is, was Annabelle really involved in all this? If yes, then why do people consider Annabelle to be so dangerous? Well, to understand that, we need to take a look at a bit of Annabelle's history, and revisit some of the old incidents that many of you might already know. Annabelle's story began in 1970 or 1971, when she was just a simple doll. This doll was gifted to a 28-year-old nursing student named Donna by her mother on her birthday. Although Donna was quite grown up, her mother still gifted her the doll for her birthday. Donna was living in Hartford, Connecticut, with her roommate Angie. At first, the doll was just a cute accessory that sat on the living room sofa. Donna had no idea back then that the doll she considered simple and normal was not an ordinary doll. But soon, Donna and Angie started noticing strange paranormal activity around the doll. The doll began to move on its own, like if Donna placed it on the living room sofa. Later it would be found in the bedroom, even though the room door was closed. Not only that, they also started receiving notes with, "Help me," written on them, on parchment paper, even though they didn't own any parchment paper. Poltergeist activity in the house also increased. There were knocking sounds, flashing lights, shaking beds, and a sudden drop in room temperature. Terrified, Donna and Angie called in a psychic medium. The medium conducted a seance and revealed that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of an innocent little girl aged 5 to 7, whose name was Annabelle Higgins. She didn't want to harm anyone, and the body of this child had been found on the site where the apartment building now stood. The medium said that this spirit was benevolent, meaning not dangerous, and only wanted love and care, not to harm anyone. Donna and Angie felt sorry for her and allowed the spirit to stay inside the doll. Days went by, and initially, nothing major happened. But gradually the activity increased, and Donna's boyfriend was even brutally attacked because he had made fun of the Annabelle doll. That's when they contacted the very famous and well-known paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. After their investigation, the Warrens reached a very different conclusion. They said that the doll was not inhabited by a little girl's spirit, but by a demon that was using the nurses' sympathy to its advantage, and wanted to harm them. According to them, the seance itself had released the demon. The Warrens also explained that spirits do not possess inanimate objects, but generally possess people, and in Donna's case, the doll was about to possess them. An inhuman spirit can attach itself to a location or an object and manipulate it, as happened in the case of Annabelle. The doll became a doorway through which the demon entered the house. Prominent figures like Ed and Lorraine Warren, legends in the world of the paranormal, turned this story into a much darker and more marketable tale of demonic possession. And this eventually became the foundation of the Conjuring universe. The Warrens placed the doll in a special display box in their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut. They believed that the doll had become so powerful and dangerous that it could harm anyone, and that it could not be exorcised. That's why they thought it was best to keep it locked. Now, the Warrens publicized many dangerous events and incidents associated with Annabelle, which you may have seen in the Conjuring movie. These events further strengthened the story of Annabelle's curse. Not only that, you and I both know that apart from the attack on Donna's boyfriend, Annabelle had harmed other people as well. For example, once a priest made fun of the doll during a visit to the Warrens museum. But while he was on his way back home from the museum, his car met with an accident. In another incident, a man visited the Warrens museum and tapped on the glass box of Annabelle. In fact, he even laughed at it. But while returning home with his girlfriend, their motorcycle crashed into a tree. The man did not survive the accident, but his girlfriend did. Apart from that, the Warrens also claimed that they had personally experienced the effects of the doll themselves. But friends, how much truth is there in all this? Or whether these accidents are even linked to Annabelle or not? Well, no one really knows. But one thing we all do know is that in paranormal world, the Annabelle doll has become extremely famous because of her horror image. Coming back to Dan Rivera. Well, his passing is a tragic incident, and the official cause is still pending since the autopsy reports haven't been released yet. So, we cannot directly link this tragedy to Annabelle. But yes, people are associating it with Annabelle, because he passed away during the Devils on the Run Tour. And somewhere, this tour was also a marketing stunt to increase Annabelle's public visibility. But the question is, where is the doll now? Well, some reports are claiming that the doll is missing. But that may not be true. See, when the incident with Dan happened, the doll was in a van in the parking lot. And after that, it was returned to the Warrens Museum. Now, this last part one mentioned. There is no solid proof available for it anywhere. But some sources are saying that the doll is back in the museum. So that's what I'm sharing with you. Overall, I want to ask you, what do you think? Was Annabelle doll really involved in Dan Rivera's death? Or was it just a coincidence? Because if we look at previous incidents, like the one with the priest, or the motorcycle crash, if those are true, then it means Annabelle can do anything from anywhere. Because if she can cause accidents while locked inside a box at the museum, then is it possible that she had something to do with Dan Rivera's death too? What do you think about this? Do let me know in the comments. That's all for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like and share. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, because we bring such videos regularly.